miss the feeling.
For Total Home Pest Control, who are you going to call?
Call the Bug Man, 923-BUGS.
For total pest control for your home or business, call the original Salvant.
Call the Bug Man today, 923-BUGS.
Exiles from what you ask? Exiled from the radio. But now, we're on your television.
I'm Bill Perfita, he's Kevin Gallagher, and they kicked us to the curb.
But we're back.
We are back with Exiles Television on the Pelican Broadcasting Network. We're going to bring you the newsmakers. We're also going to take your calls and give you great information. It's going to be the best damn radio show on television.
Look for it on your cable system or download the app, PelicanSportsTV.com.
Says here that Eric Gaylord is back. Now, where's he been?
Well, I was told he had joined the CIA, trying to stop the Russians from stealing our election.
Vodka. Nazdorovia.
Nazdorovia.
Free elections.
Hello guys, it's Debbie. It's time. I've got a brand new location. 10510 Airline Highway, Baton Rouge, next to After 5 Tuxedos. We have the perfect spot to get all your wedding and formal wear needs. Come see our one-of-a-kind name brand and get great prices. With 30 years experience, the best customer service anywhere. It's Debbie's Bridal, Airline Highway, Baton Rouge. See you soon.
Good morning and welcome to hour one of the Wednesday edition of the Clarence Bug Show. So grateful that you've allowed us into your homes to share these 2 hours with you this morning as we all so very eagerly look forward to Friday and the beginning of phase one and the reopening here in the state of Louisiana. You know, throughout this pandemic, one of the categories, if you will, of groups that have been so very important are the service organizations. United Ways all across Louisiana and the Louisiana Association of United Ways now, aside from helping us so much, need our help. They are in the process of conducting soon a statewide survey to serve us better. And joining us to start today's show is Sarah Berthelot, President and CEO of the Louisiana Association of United Ways. Sarah, good morning, and how are you today?
Good morning. Thank you so much for having me on your show. It's an honor to be a part of this morning's conversation.
Well, bless your heart. Thank you. So why is it important for folks to take that short 10-minute time window and complete the United Way Louisiana COVID-19 survey, Sarah?
Well, we know that every family has felt the impact of this COVID-19 pandemic event, and in uncertain times like these, there's no better way to create pathways forward than to be grounded in the knowledge of the people we serve. Mm-hmm. So United Way would like to make plans and would like to be informed with what our supporters, our communities need the most, and we want to lift those needs up for all to understand as well.
It says a lot about your organization that you are going to the individuals that you serve to get that information firsthand. Says a lot about United Way, Sarah.
Well, thank you. Thank you for saying that. United Way believes that we're in the best position to address the most urgent problems when we really have a deep understanding of our communities and the most pressing problems they're facing. And we believe that the United Way collaborates with other nonprofits, collaborates with community leaders and public officials, and we believe that everyone would have an interest in what Louisiana citizens have to say right now about their needs. This is we've all walked through something that we've not ever experienced before.
So what sort of information will you be asking the public that responds to the survey to volunteer?
Okay. We are asking them to complete an anonymous survey. All the individual responses will be held confidential. And our survey starts out with this question: what are you most concerned about in the weeks and months ahead? And what makes the biggest difference for your household finances at this time? And so that's how we open it up. We also want to understand what industry the respondent works in to get a sense of where they work. What is their primary source of household income, and how that has changed since this pandemic has affected us all. And then how are things like access to child care? How has the COVID-19 impact had an impact on their access to child care, and what their current child care arrangements are now? For those that have young children, child care will be essential to returning back to the workforce and walking ahead in this new norm as a worker, earning a living to support families. We'd like to understand, like, how have they had to consume their savings, and what basic needs have been compromised the most. We're asking about 25 questions, and they're all intended to understand just what people are facing. And what we hope to do is have enough respondents around the state of Louisiana to produce a research-based response result summary for the public and for all to understand.
Now, obviously, when you are talking about an undertaking of this magnitude being statewide with all the individuals that United Way services, you're talking about a pretty sizable operation here. How much is all of this going to cost us?
The survey itself?
Yes.
Well, we have some volunteers that are helping us.
Awesome.
Where this survey is not costing United Way a penny to do.
Fantastic.
And it's just a testimony of everyone's commitment right now to be able to work alongside everyone else to bring our communities back to a place to help them to restore and recover from this pandemic. And so we're fortunate to have expert researchers and experienced academic surveyors that are putting forth their volunteer help with this project this time. The good news is within the first 24 hours of releasing the survey, we've had over 1,000 Louisiana families respond thus far.
Wow. So what are you hoping, Sarah, the end result of gathering all of this information is going to be?
Well, we're going to be able to understand what solutions can make the biggest difference for families in this recovery, near term and long term.
Right.
We're also going to have an understanding of what is the economic impact to families, what basic needs are they struggling to meet right now. That will inform actions that United Ways and others will take in the human service sector. We also want to lift up the results to community leaders and public policy leaders that would use this type of information to inform their planning. And we also want to reflect back to the Louisiana citizens what they shared with us in the survey findings.
So what has the COVID-19 pandemic done as far as affecting both the mission of the United Way and your ability to carry out that mission, Sarah?
Well, it's times like these that United Way, unfortunately in our state, over the past 10, 15, 20 years, communities of our state have faced so many natural disasters.
Right.
And speaking for the nonprofit sector, I'm very proud to work for a nonprofit sector who has gotten very good at being very responsive during these uncertain times. For United Way, what we work hard to do is to be adaptive, to think about the needs that people have, which change daily, to understand key moments of an event that has an impact on families, and to take effective action accordingly. Think about what can we do today, what can we do at the next phase of this event. And so United Way, we are built for this type of response. We are thinking ahead at the realities of the fact that so many people will be impacted financially, that it may have an impact on the philanthropic abilities of families in our state.
Right.
We know that we will need to be smart. We may be all working with less. And so that gives us even more reason to be intentional, to be smart, to think about solutions that truly hit the mark. And that's what we're attempting to do here. But United Way will be here now and be here tomorrow. We'll do all we can, and we'll work alongside collaborating partners, and continue to do all we can. Equipped with this knowledge that we're gathering now, we'll be in a stronger position to serve.
How can folks take part in the survey, Sarah?
Well, they can visit my website and probably link to any United Way website at this point, but they can visit launitedway.org and access the survey there. You also can follow, United Ways are posting on social media the survey link. You can follow us, Louisiana United Ways, on Twitter, on Facebook, at LA United Way, and you can see us there. So we invite you to visit our websites and take the survey. We also give an option that if someone needs a survey mailed to them because they don't have Wi-Fi access, they can contact the Louisiana Association of United Ways, or they can contact their local United Way for help on that. We want anyone who wants to complete the survey to have that opportunity.
Finally, Sarah, your organization is also partnering with the Louisiana Department of Health and the 211 program. How's that partnership working, and how can we benefit?
Thank you for asking. Yes, we are part of the Louisiana 211 statewide network. I serve as the response lead for that statewide effort. And so 211 has served 69,000 families as of 7 a.m. this morning with COVID-19 questions or help in their communities. So for those listening, 211, you can dial 211 anytime, any hour, from any place in Louisiana. You're going to reach a live specialist who can answer questions about COVID-19 using curated information provided to us by the Louisiana Department of Health. We're working lock and step with them every day. You can also ask them questions about available services and programs in your local communities that meet needs. And so it is a resource that's available to them now, but it's available to Louisiana citizens every day of the year.
Fantastic. Sarah Berthelot, President and CEO of the Louisiana Association of United Ways. Sarah, thank you so much for the time, but more important, thank you for the mission that United Way and the Louisiana Association of United Ways has undertaken to help us all get past this. We appreciate it sincerely.
Thank you so much, and thank you so much for helping spread the word. Really appreciate it.
You are quite welcome. Sarah Berthelot, thank you kindly. It is, you heard her use the phrase new norm. Well, at least for the time being, drive-through graduations, the new norm. And there'll be some coming up soon. We'll spend some time after this break with Wes Watts, the Superintendent of Schools for West Baton Rouge Parish, when we continue Hour 1 of the Wednesday edition of the Clarence Bugg Show. Right where you've got it, here on the Pelican. Stay close.
I owed the IRS $10,000.
The IRS
garnished my wages.
They put a lien on my house.
I'm self-employed and didn't report all my income. They claim I owe a lot more than I do.
The IRS is the most powerful collection agency in the world. They do not give up until you pay.
I couldn't sleep. We were being audited. I called Tax Solutions Now, and a great big weight was lifted off my shoulders.
I called Tax Solutions Now, and they got the IRS off my back.
Tax Solutions Now had my wage garnishment lifted in 48 hours.
Tax Solutions Now can get you help. Our agents know the rules, can stop the pain, and get you the best deal.
Tax Solutions Now saved my business.
I qualified for the Fresh Start program. I paid less than I owed.
We connect you with a team of former IRS agents and tax professionals who get the IRS off your back. Time is running out. Call Tax Solutions now.
Call 800-778-4345. 800-778-4345.
From appetizers, pasta dishes, and entrees, La Contea takes pride in preparing all the Italian cuisine we know you love. Enjoy live music every Thursday through Saturday from 6 to 9, happy hour weekdays from 3 to 6, and brunch on Sundays from 11 to 2, as well as dinner portion-sized lunch specials for under $10. Visit our website to view our menu and book a party or meeting in our large banquet room. Once you try La Contea, your Italian dining will change forever.
Hi, I'm Bobby Yarborough with Manda Fine Meats. Here at Manda, we know what the folks of South Louisiana love. They love great flavored smoked sausage, delicious deli meats, and specialty items like boudin and andouille sausage. Manda Fine Meats has been providing these products since 1947. We produce them right here in Baton Rouge, so you know you're always getting the freshest product at your local grocery store. Manda Fine Meats. Taste the fresh local flavor in everything we make. Make it Manda every time.
Berthelot's Furniture and Appliances, your dependable independent. Depend on us for service, for selection, for price. Get huge Whirlpool savings. Shop now and save on Whirlpool appliances throughout the store. Plus, experience our price match guarantee and ask about special financing. You can depend on the know-how of people who live appliances every day. Berthelot's Furniture and Appliances, your dependable independent with nationwide buying power.
Welcome back as we continue hour one of the midweek edition of the Clarence Bugg Show. The new normal, that is a phrase that we've all become accustomed to. And at least for the near foreseeable future, part of that new normal will be drive-through graduation ceremonies. Our friends on the West Bank over in West Baton Rouge will engage in that shortly. And Wes Watts, the superintendent for West Baton Rouge's school system, joins us to talk about this. Superintendent, how are you this morning, sir?
We're doing great, Clarence. I appreciate the opportunity to visit with you, and very proud to be over here in the west, on the west side, and I see it's a little bit of a tongue twister there with Wes and Wes.
Yeah.
I appreciate you handling that. Yeah, you did a great job with that.
Thank you, my friend. So how long did it take for the folks in West Baton Rouge to get behind the idea of drive-through graduation?
It depends on the folks you're talking about. You know, we started months ago, really when the governor's order came out to extend the stay-at-home through the end of April. We knew things were going to change.
Right.
And then we started coming up with plans and options. You know, if we went back to school, what type of ceremony could we have for graduation? Because we know that's a big deal. And,
right.
You know, the kids most impacted by this have been our seniors. And the graduation ceremony being part of it, but just what they missed out with their friends and their teachers and those relationships that they've built over 13 years, that last month and a half of school. So, but getting behind it, so we really just started promoting it a couple of weeks ago when we realized that it wasn't going to be beneficial to our kids to wait till June or July because there was no guarantee you could have an in-person service. And what's the best way we can honor the class of 2020 to make it special for them, make it unique for them, make it memorable for them? That's when we started rolling things out. So just in the last couple of weeks.
So exactly how is the process going to work, Wes?
So we think it's really important for graduates to walk across the stage. That's what you hear.
Right.
You want to walk across that stage, take a picture with your principal. So we will stage our cars alphabetically. Parents or whoever will be driving the vehicle. We'll have the graduate in the car. We have a little route for them. They'll pull up. At Port Allen High, it'll be in front of the school. At Bruley High, it'll be in the football stadium on the midfield area. Kind of like the thought hit me, homecoming court, kind of how they parade the homecoming court.
Right.
So they'll drive up. The graduate will get out, walk across the stage, get the diploma, take a picture with the principal, exit the stage, get back in their vehicle, and then we have a parade route. One of the ways we want for others to be able to participate is kind of make a parade route to safely line the streets and have them drive through a bunch of cheering fans. And so that's kind of the gist of the process for us.
What does it mean to the staffs and the administrations of these two schools and these communities to be able to do this for these seniors, Wes?
Yeah, I think it means everything. And as you see, some of them have organized their own, driving through neighborhoods. And we just see the value of human interaction, right? We're so tired of seeing each other on screen. It's novel, it's neat, but it's not the same. It's hard to love from a distance. And I think it's important for our staff to be able to show that love to our seniors, for the community to show the love for the seniors as personable as you can, as in person as you can. And so we think that's critical. And we wanted to try and make it different. And so for us, having it, Pelican Broadcasting is going to be putting this on TV and on YouTube, tape delayed. But then it's going to be live on the air on the radio. And we're so thankful to 104.5 ESPN Radio in Baton Rouge here that they're going to do that. They're going to kind of MC the exercise. So for us, parents sitting in cars waiting in line is that's not enough. We do enough of that in West Baton Rouge, the bridge, right? So we didn't want to put our parents through that ordeal again.
Right.
But while they're sitting in that, they're going to be able to hear the whole graduation ceremony, every kid's name. They will hear it called over the radio while they're sitting in their car. We thought that was critical, and that's why we chose to go with this.
Fantastic.
This process.
As you well know, the class of 2020 has gone through a lot. I mean, there was the flood of 2016, there were hurricanes, now the coronavirus pandemic. Your heart has to go out to these young people. What have you been telling them as far as the life lessons you hope they have learned from what they've gone through in these 4 years?
Yeah, man, you're right about that. They've endured it, and I guess we really try to emphasize to our students that life is 10% what happens to you and 90% how you deal with it.
Yes.
And just to understand that, this is one moment in your life. 20 years from now, when they look back, I think they'll look back. For us, it was, hey, you see that even through all of that, we got to do something different than anybody else. But mostly, the most valuable thing out of all of this is the relationships you build with your teachers and your classmates. That relationships are everything, and those things are still intact. And these experiences do nothing but solidify. They strengthen those relationships. I think for me, that's the most important lesson that we could get out of it.
I can imagine so. Now, looking long term, at least down the road a little ways, I know you cannot be looking forward to seeing what the final financial hit to education is going to be from COVID-19, right?
Right. And one of our goals to this whole deal is not to let, especially for this graduation, not to let money be a determining factor. We try, year in and year out, you have to make some decisions based on budget, based on dollars, but we literally try to make our decisions based on what's best for our kids no matter what. We're tracking that closely now. The CARES Act has been helpful. The CARES Act funding for public education is going to help us provide a better service for our students if something like this happens again in the future. We'll be better prepared for distance learning. I do believe the value of education is as much what you experience day in and day out with your classmates, with your teachers in person, as it is the content. So hopefully we'll be back for those experiences, but we're going to have to be prepared. One of the things it's going to allow us to do is be better prepared if you have a weather day. If a student just misses a few days because they're sick. The makeup of that has been pretty tough, but now because we've had to operate at a more of a distance learning type setup, we're actually those things are going to be better in the future because of it.
When you look at all the lessons, all the obstacles, all the for lack of a better word, adaptations that we've had to come up with. What are you hoping when all of this is over with, we will have learned from this, Wes?
Well, first one, and this kind of answers the question you had before, Clarence, would be that, when you really stop and look at how many difficult situations and challenges and obstacles in your life have you overcome?
Right.
And the answer to that is every one of them.
Mm-hmm.
So whatever's been put before you up to this point, you've made it through.
Mm-hmm.
And so you're going to make it through this also. But I really look back and say, all right, we were able to slow down. We were forced to stay home.
Right.
Man, to value that, to slow life down. Yeah, it's fun to go do things and to be on the go, but sometimes it was almost forced us to stop and say, I'm just really thankful that I have what I have, that the family I have, the friends that I have, the health that I have. And if I look back at it, there have been some graduating classes in the history of America that have experienced far worse in terms of your Vietnam era, your World War II era. Those folks had it much worse than what we do.
Right.
And, I'm not trying to minimize the impact of this virus and this pandemic, right? I'm not.
Right.
But, we look back on it, it just really kind of makes us come back and say, okay, what's really important in my life? And I think it helps us prioritize those things.
You talk about the things, a newfound appreciation for certain things. It's no big secret. You're well aware that we have had our struggles in education circles here in the state of Louisiana. But I seem to get a sense in talking with people as I watch this event unfold that there is a new appreciation now for the role of education, for teachers, for administrators. Are you sensing the same thing in that regard, Superintendent?
Yes, sir, absolutely. And that's just been kind of my mantra for a while now, is like how valuable our teachers are and how hard they work and the impact they have on kids. And if we want to improve education in Louisiana, which we know we need to do,
right,
we have to create a better aura around the teaching profession. We need our best and brightest to choose the field of education. All right, because if we don't, the best way for me to make education better, to provide a better education for kids, is to put the very best teacher I can in front of them.
Right.
Right. We actually have a program going called Educators Rising that we're actually recruiting high school kids to choose education. We've done a great job of recruiting kids to go into the medical field, to go into engineering, even our career and tech fields. Those are great careers, but we've not done a good job of encouraging kids to go into education. And so I think through this, we miss our sports. I'm an athletic guy. We miss it. We miss going to the movie.
Right.
We miss some of those things. We miss it a little bit, but we miss our teachers a lot. That's the message I sent to our teachers last week. We miss you a lot. And I really do think this has created a greater appreciation for teachers. Hopefully that will encourage more of our young folks to choose this. It is a great field. You literally have an eternal impact on the people you come in contact with, and there's nothing greater in terms of a profession than making an impact on somebody else in a positive way. So yeah, I think so, and we're starting to see that and hear that from our folks.
Finally, Superintendent, how hopeful are you that the parental involvement aspect will continue now that parents have had the opportunity to be more intertwined in their children's education?
Yeah, I think absolutely, for two reasons. One, sometimes parents aren't involved because they're unsure, and they've not experienced how to do that. So it's not their fault sometimes.
Right.
So now they've been forced to, and I think now they're more comfortable with that interaction, whether it be through a virtual opportunity. So I think that's going to help that. I think the greater appreciation for teachers is going to see that. And, when you're getting those calls from parents saying, hey, I want to know the phone number to that substitute teacher hotline that you have. I need to call it for reinforcements. And I joke. I'm just joking. But, no, I think it's really going to help because I think they're more comfortable now saying, okay, this is something that I can do. Again, they've had to slow down because they have been stuck at home, and they've had the time to do it, or they've chosen to take the time to do it. And sometimes we just don't because we get too busy. So I think this has kind of forced the hand of families to really sit down with their kids and do some work academically. So I think I think we'll definitely see a benefit from that.
Wes Watts, Superintendent for the West Baton Rouge Parish School System. Congrats on a job well done, and thanks for allowing the Pelican to share in this momentous occasion. We appreciate it sincerely, Wes.
Yeah, and thank you, Clarence. And I'm appreciative to Pelican for making this special for our seniors. We really do appreciate you guys, and thank you for having me on.
You're quite welcome, my friend. Stay safe.
Yes, sir. You too. Have a great day.
All right, bottom of the hour break. We get that done, and then we'll head over to the Capitol, talk a little business COVID-19 with Don Starns of the NFIB. That's next on the Clarence Bugg Show, right where you've got it on the Pelican. Stay close.
Hi, I am Dr. Farrell Frugier Jr., and I am a general dentist at Frugier Family Dentistry. I was born and raised in Baton Rouge, Louisiana. I went to Catholic High School, LSU, and LSU School of Dentistry in New Orleans, where I received my DDS degree in 1986. I always have and will continue to be committed to continuing my education, to invest in technology which makes the diagnosis and delivery of dentistry more thorough, more comfortable, and more aesthetically pleasing. In our practice, we are here to serve the patients. We want to improve their quality of life and to develop relationships with our patients. In dentistry, we have a chance to impact lives on a daily basis, not just by doing dentistry, but by getting to know them and being a part of their life. We also believe in giving back to our community. So every year, we give back to the Greater Baton Rouge Food Bank, Toys for Tots, and Mary Bird Perkins Cancer Center. Please stop by and visit our office. We would love to take care of you and your family.
Hello guys, it's Debbie. It's time. I've got a brand new location. 10510 Airline Highway, Baton Rouge, next to After 5 Tuxedos. We have the perfect spot to get all your wedding and formal wear needs. Come see our one-of-a-kind name brand and get great prices. With 30 years experience, the best customer service anywhere. It's Debbie's Bridal, Airline Highway, Baton Rouge. See you soon.
For Total Home Pest Control, who are you going to call?
Call the Bug Man, 923-BUGS.
For total pest control for your home or business, call the original Salvat.
Call the Bug Man today, 923-BUGS.
They said I could find you here. Why are you fishing? Our company's got to ship out 2 full color brochures and 20 color copies. You're killing me.
It's done. Designed, printed, packaged, and shipped.
How?
You just got to know the right people. Baker Printing, the printing people.
How come you get to fish in this private lake?
Like I said, you just got to know the right people. You can know the right people too.
Of the midweek edition of the Clarence Bugg Show. It is something that has, oh my God, been so eagerly anticipated. Governor John Bel Edwards finally giving us the clearance to move into phase 1 of the reopening of Louisiana. And of course, the Louisiana legislature is tasked with dealing with this particular issue. It is the small business owner that has probably borne most of the brunt of this coronavirus pandemic, particularly here in the state of Louisiana. And as we all know, small businesses are the engine that drives all of our economies, whether they are local, state, or national. One of the individuals that is constantly on the lookout for the benefit of small businesses is Don Starns, the state director of the National Federation of Independent Business, who joins us today to talk about the reopening and how our small business owners have fared throughout all of this. Don, good morning, and how are you today?
Good morning, Clarence. I'm doing well. Thanks for having me on.
You're quite welcome. So what's been the response so far that you've been able to ascertain from your members since the governor cleared the state to start phase 1 of the reopening of our economy?
You know, it's been positive, but still, hesitant on the fact that, it's not more.
Right.
Everybody is just so eager to get reopened. It's important to get our economy going again for everyone, not just for the business owners.
Right.
So we are really trying to keep our members going by giving them as much information as we can and keeping a positive outlook on things, and just hoping and keeping pressure on the legislature and the governor to continue to move forward.
I'm sorry, go ahead.
When the governor announced the opening schedule, we were, not thrilled about the 25%, but it seems a little arbitrary. It's not something everyone's doing.
Right.
But, we understand the governor's trying to manage public health and the economy. But we are very positive to see, declining cases around the state, and that seems to be, a good trend to be on. And that has put us in the position that he's announced that, in 21 days we'll have possibly a new phase to enter, which, that's what our members are really looking forward to, the next step forward to getting back reopened.
As best you have been able to ascertain, past reopening completely, what are the issues most pressing or most perplexing for small business and independent business owners in our state, Don?
Right now, it's liability concerns on the reopening. They're concerned that, will their employees be safe? Will they be safe? Will there be an onslaught of possible litigation? That's just something they worry about in this state all the time anyway. The other thing is consumer confidence. And that's, what's happening is you have the liability concern and the consumer confidence ranking top two issues for our small business owners. They are concerned about what is it going to take to get folks back through their doors. I mean, small business 100% runs on customers, right? And so we need folks to feel comfortable and get back out and start to visit their local shops and to shop local. We always talk about Small Business Saturday, in the fall.
Right.
And, and say shop local. This is shop local on steroids. We have got to get a real concerted effort behind getting folks back out because, they've been shopping online. And, luckily, a lot of our small retailers have definitely been able to adjust their operations during this and be able to have been able to offer online shopping and curbside pickup and that sort of thing. But let's be real, I'm sure Amazon's numbers have been out of the roof several weeks. So we need to really have a concerted effort of folks getting back out and shopping on Main Street.
Legislatively, and I know you will probably be spending a lot of time at the Capitol, what will Louisiana's NFIB be targeting to help small and independent businesses after this devastating hit to our local economy?
Well, we're really focused on a few pieces of legislation right now. One is our centralized sales tax collection bill that will move our state off of the outlier list and create a much more streamlined, centralized way of collecting and remitting taxes to the state. It will make us more competitive, especially in this online age, and it will make it easier for business owners who have multiple locations in multiple parishes. We're looking for ways to support small business in the sense of making their life as easy as possible when we come out of this. So that's one of them. Another is our the tort reform bill that passed out yesterday. We've been supporting that all along. It has measures in it that will reduce the jury trial threshold, that won't create this interact, need a check mentality that we have here in Louisiana, and hopefully help decrease the insurance rates for folks. That'll be huge. Otherwise, we are also focused on some resolutions that the Legislative Recovery Task Force has been working on, which will help reduce licensing fees and regulations for small business owners who are getting back open, or for people who are just looking to get into a new business. When you really look at all of the unemployment numbers and see how many people have got to start over, and how many small business owners will just have to figure out something new to do or different, we need to find ways to remove those barriers and really take the lid off of licensing and regulations that really hold people back from getting involved in a new area. So we're supporting legislation that'll do that as well. So we think there's some really positive things moving through the process at this point. We're fighting back against paid sick leave mandates, minimum wage mandates.
Right.
These new mandates on small business right now, it will do nothing but just kill them. Just ensure that they shut their doors after this is over. So this is not the time, we don't believe any time is the right time to, tell business owners what they should pay and what they should offer for benefits.
Right.
But now is certainly not the time as they look for ways to get reopened and figure out how to remake their business and get their customers back in the door.
What's been your experience so far? Have you been able to ascertain whether or not small and independent businesses in our state have been able to access and navigate their way through the federal dollars that have been made available to help businesses?
Yeah, our members are telling us that, they are getting the money now. The second round of funding, really, they seem to work the kinks out a lot more. It's not a perfect process, but it's way better than it was when it first launched. And so you have small business owners who are actually getting those PPP loans. The dollars are getting into their bank account. We have like 61% of our members telling us they actually have received their funds.
Awesome.
With another 20% on top of that saying they've applied and been approved. So that's wonderful news. And that means that they're getting those dollars through the door and they're creating that bridge to be able to keep folks employed and get back to business. Now, on the other side of that, what's going to happen is you'll have us pushing at the federal level to get some flexibility on how those dollars are paid back to be forgivable.
Right.
We have had a big challenge with the unemployment, and so basically, you have folks who are saying, well, I can make more staying at home with this additional benefit from the federal government. No, I don't want to go back to work.
Right.
And so with the numbers of people who are on unemployment, it's impossible to keep track of for the Workforce Commission, and so there's a lot of, moving parts right now. And so what we're trying to do is say, look, business owners are doing everything they can to get payroll where it needs to be. But if they're not open 100%, they're not going to need 100% of their payroll. So let's give them some more flexibility. And so what we're asking for is hopefully to be able to pay things like accounts payable. They need to buy inventory for later in the year and that sort of thing. And so we need to be able to support them in doing that, and that would be a good way to do it, and be able to give them some flexibility on those dollars. So we are getting positive feedback from our members on, getting access to that loan program now after the second round and getting those dollars through the door. We're also hearing that they feel like, obviously optimism is way down in the short term, but our recent survey, our members told us in our optimism survey that came out yesterday that they feel like the recession will be somewhat short-lived, and they're hopeful and optimistic about what things look like 6 months from now. So we were really excited to see that, considering where they are right now.
So how can interested individuals find out more about the Louisiana branch of the National Federation of Independent Businesses?
Visit our website, NFIB.com. We have a ton of wonderful information about what's going on with the coronavirus, everything from federal resources, and then you can go to the Louisiana State page and kind of see what the latest and greatest is and keep up with things there. And we've got a ton of great resources. We've got a webinar today at 11 for small business owners who have questions about all these things, liability, HR questions, unemployment questions. So we encourage folks to get on that webinar and get some information, even if you're not a member.
Well,
try to log in.
I am so glad that we have you as the state director of the National Federation of Independent Business. We need that energy. We need that passion. And small and independent businesses will be well served by all that your agency does on their behalf. Thank you so much, Dawn, and stay safe, please.
Thank you, Clarence. You too. I'll talk to you soon.
That sounds like a plan. She is one hard-working young lady, and she has business in her heart. No two ways about it. Final break of hour one. We need to get her done. And we'll come back, put a big old bow on the first hour of the midweek edition of the Clarence Bug Show right here on the Pelican. Stay close.
Hi, I'm Bobby Yarborough with Manda Fine Meats. Here at Manda, we know what the folks of South Louisiana love. They love great flavored smoked sausage, delicious deli meats, and specialty items like boudin and andouille sausage. Manda Fine Meats has been providing these products since 1947. We produce them right here in Baton Rouge, so you know you're always getting the freshest product at your local grocery store. Manda Fine Meats. Taste the fresh local flavor in everything we make. Make it Manda every time.
No one can stop me when I taste the feeling. Nothing could ever bring me down. Nothing could ever bring me down. Taste the feeling.
Exiles from what, you ask? Exiled from the radio, but now we're on your television.
I'm Bill Perfita, he's Kevin Gallagher, and they kicked us to the curb.
But we're back.
We are back with Exiles Television on the Pelican Broadcasting Network. We're going to bring you the newsmakers. We're also going to take your calls and give you great information. It's going to be the best damn radio show on television.
Look for it on your cable system or download the app, PelicanSportsTV.com.
From appetizers, pasta dishes, and entrees, La Contea takes pride in preparing all the Italian cuisine we know you love. Enjoy live music every Thursday through Saturday from 6 to 9, happy hour weekdays from 3 to 6, and brunch on Sundays from 11 to 2, as well as dinner portion-sized lunch specials for under $10. Visit our website to view our menu and book a party or meeting in our large banquet room. Once you try La Contea, your Italian dining will change forever.
Live and play on the fairway at Greystone Golf and Country Club, a serene, challenging golf destination located in Denham Springs. For tee times and membership opportunities, go to GreystoneCountryClub.com.
Welcome back as we wrap up hour one of our midweek edition of the Clarence Bugg Show. I was looking for a story that I ran across last night that said to me, this may be the biggest sign I've seen so far on the national level as far as that ever so slow return to normalcy. Disneyland announcing this week that they are in the process now of taking reservations for early July to reopen. Obviously, when you're talking about an amusement park of that size, it says a lot about where we are as far as progressing down the road to at least resembling normalcy. It was, while I'm not, a big theme park, Disney park kind of person, it was refreshing to see that we are moving in that direction. Whether or not it is a concrete sign that, we can finally start to exhale just a little bit, I will leave that to you to decide. But as more and more businesses start to reopen and we are allowed into more and more places, I cannot stress enough how important personal responsibility is. We are approaching phase one because we conducted ourselves, at least most of us, or a lot of you are probably saying, nah, Clarence, some of us, not most of us, a lot of us conducted ourselves in the manner that was requested. And as a result, we are now able to inch our way toward phase one. The governor is asking 7 things to remember in phase one of the state's reopening. When at all possible, please, you're asked to mask up in public. And how ironic is it? You know, the old folk, so wise among us, say that if you live long enough, you'll see just about everything. It is somewhat ironic as you make your rounds, your appointed rounds, and you see so many people wearing the masks in public. It is still an official law on Louisiana books. It is illegal to wear a mask in public. Yeah, you know, it's one of those rules, one of those laws that's been around forever, and no one just ever saw fit to say, you know what, we're making all these new laws. Why don't we go back and wipe off all the ones that, you know, no longer serve us, the ones we no longer need? Well, still on the books, it's illegal to wear a mask in public in Louisiana. But you are asked to do that now, just to show you how different these times are. Social distancing, washing your hands, and disinfecting surfaces. That one will probably be with us for God knows how long. Just because we are heading into phase 1 does not mean you can forget about those things. Also, you are being asked to limit your gatherings to your household size and limit the number of people that you come in contact with regularly to a small and consistent group of individuals. Meaning, I understand, you know, wanting to get back out and see this person, this group of persons. That's just natural. That's a part of the human experience. But you're being asked to only affiliate yourself with a select small group of individuals. That way you minimize the risk. Also, seniors, people with various pre-existing medical conditions, you are advised to still stay at home. The obvious one. If you're sick, stay home, y'all. A little consideration, a little common sense, and more important, a little common courtesy. You're still being advised to stay home except for those essential needs, and if at all possible, continue to work from home if you're able. Marty? Mark from Denham is on line 1. Good morning, my friend. How are you, sir?
How you doing, Captain?
I'm better now that I hear another good man's voice. How are you today, Mark?
Well, I just want to let you know on what you're talking about just now.
Mm-hmm.
Naturally, I fall in that old age group where I'm supposed to still stay at home, but I had to make 3 quick runs to auto parts, grocery store, and post office.
Right. All that's essential. You got to have those things.
I run out right quick, and nobody I came in contact with, whether they're employees or customers, had a mask on but me.
Really? Wow. Wow.
So
What does that say to you, Mark?
Well, what I'm scared to death of, and maybe I'm looking too far ahead, but if we don't wake up and follow the guidelines that we're supposed to, all of us in general, we're going to resort back to a worse case than what we started out with.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. When you were out and about making those 3 essential runs, how many folks in your age group did you see doing the same thing, Mark?
At the post office, naturally, a lot of old people got a post office box like me.
Right, right.
There was 5 of them at the post office that was either in line or getting it out of the mailbox, and not one of them had a mask on.
Did they look at you like the bad guy because you chose to put a mask on?
Clarence, no pun intended, but as ugly as I am, nobody looks at me anyway.
So what do you see short term for the great state of Louisiana? Are we going to do what we need to do to get out of this thing, or will we find ourselves back at square one, Mark?
If what I have seen in the last week on mandatory runs, we're going to resort back to the beginning.
Oh, boy. Not what I wanted to hear, my friend. But you're an honest man.
It's not what I wanted to say either.
Yeah, but you're an honest man. You always have been, and I respect that about you, and I love that about you. What would you like to say to the folks watching this program right now that are heading out to go wherever it is they need to go, and social distancing, personal protective PPE is the furthest thing from their minds. What would you like to say to them, Mark?
If you don't care about yourself, your family, your neighbor, or your friends, keep on going like you're going. Otherwise, you might be looking at a respirator in a hospital pretty soon.
Wow. Mark, great to hear your voice. Stay safe, my friend.
Thank you.
You're quite welcome. As a diehard real American and as a former law enforcement agent, I know how much it hurt Mark's heart to make those comments. But one thing about Mark, he always shoots from the hip. What you see is what you get, and he'll tell you what's in his heart. And quite frankly, it is those two particular groups that we really, if you're not doing it for yourself, do it for them. The elderly and those with pre-existing medical conditions. I can only hope, and I do so, Mark, with every fiber of my being, I can only hope that you're wrong in that regard. Unfortunately, it's hard to disagree with you because like you and like so many others, there are those essential trips that you have to make. You know, we were advised to only shop for a week to 2 weeks of groceries at a time, which means guaranteed anywhere from 2 to 4 times a month, you've got to get out and get into a grocery store to take care of the household grocery needs. And on trips like that, the number of individuals that are conducting themselves in a fashion as though none of this ever happened, quite frankly, it's scary in some instances. And I will leave to you to decide why it is. But I have noticed, just an observation, in many cases, it is those who are most affected by this coronavirus, those most impacted, and those who have the most to lose that have been so far the most cavalier about how they approach the handling of this disease. I understand full well that at the end of the day, personal responsibility is not something that everyone has embraced. I get it. If that were the case, this country would be an entirely different place to live. If we all decided, you know what, this country was founded on individual freedom, and as a result, I have a responsibility to do everything within my power to take care of me and mine so that that responsibility, that obligation does not fall on someone else. I think we all know, Republican, Independent, Democrat, I think we can all agree that we have fallen way short in that regard. The problem is when you are talking about something of this nature, there are potentially fatal consequences to be had. Hopefully, Mark, you will call me back when all of this is over and you'll say, remember, Captain, when I told you I didn't think we could do it? Well, I'll be the first to admit I was wrong. Hopefully, that's the call that I'll get from you down the road. But to be quite honest with you, based on what I've seen and based on what you've told me, Mark, I don't put a whole lot of stock in telling you that you're wrong, my friend. Just saying. Just saying. Still to come in today's show, next hour, with 33 million Americans filing for unemployment in the last 7 weeks, some experts are saying it's just a matter of time. We are going to see a wave of bankruptcies in America. We'll spend some time with Attorney Ryan Richmond going over the do's and don'ts for individuals that have to, unfortunately, entertain whether or not filing for bankruptcy is in their best interest. Also, a little bit kind of under the radar, so to speak, but the proposed city of St. George, how has all this impacted their creation? Drew Murrell, attorney and spokesperson for that effort, will join us as well after the top of the hour break here on The Pelican.
Hello, guys. It's Debbie. It's time. I've got a brand new location. 10510 Airline Highway, Baton Rouge, next to After 5 Tuxedos. We have the perfect spot to get all your wedding and formal wear needs. Come see our one-of-a-kind name brand and get great prices. With 30 years experience, the best customer service anywhere. It's Debbie's Bridal, Airline Highway, Baton Rouge. See you soon.
No one can stop me when I taste the feeling. Nothing could ever bring me down. Nothing could ever bring me down. Taste the feeling.
For Total Home Pest Control, who are you going to call?
Call the Bug Man, 923-BUGS.
For total pest control for your home or business, call the original Salvat.
Call the Bug Man today, 923-BUGS.
Welcome back as we start hour 2 of the midweek edition of the Clarence Bug Show. If you were with us as we headed into the last commercial break, you heard me mention that with the record number of Americans filing for unemployment because of the COVID-19 pandemic, some, quote, experts are saying that it's just a matter of time before we see a wave of bankruptcy filings. Joining us to talk more about this is a guy that knows a whole lot about bankruptcies. Attorney Ryan Richmond joins us. Ryan, good morning, and how are you today, sir?
I'm doing very well. Thank you very much for asking, Clarence, and I hope you're doing well, and your viewing and listening audience are doing well, too.
Yes, sir. Thank you kindly. 33 million Americans filing for unemployment in just the past 7 weeks. Some folks, quote-unquote experts, saying it's just a matter of time before we see a wave of bankruptcy filings. Agree or disagree, Ryan?
I agree with that. I think you're already starting to see some of the underpinnings of a bankruptcy wave coming as the so-called Trump checks are being used up, and as well as the PPP loans are being used up. I think that's going to force a lot of individuals and businesses to consider their options under Title 11 of the U.S. Code, also known as the Bankruptcy Code.
When we do take these things into consideration, those of us that unfortunately find ourselves in a situation where we have to consider it, when deciding whether or not declaring bankruptcy is the right course of action, what are the main things we need to consider, Ryan?
Well, you need to consider a few things. Is that when you file bankruptcy, your life effectively becomes an open book. You have to file certain schedules and disclosures with the bankruptcy court regarding your assets and liabilities and your financial affairs. So if you're contemplating bankruptcy because you're having cash flow issues, whether your customer base is dried up or if you've been laid off from your job or you're having trouble meeting your home mortgage, you really need to start thinking about what documents you would need to support your bankruptcy. Because as a bankruptcy attorney myself, one of the most important things we have to put together are your schedules of assets and liabilities and your statement of financial affairs. So that's the first thing.
Okay.
And the second thing is you need to get a good bankruptcy attorney. Fortunately, there are a bunch of good bankruptcy attorneys here in the Baton Rouge and New Orleans areas that are highly qualified, that have decades of experience in guiding individuals and businesses through the bankruptcy process.
All right, let's look at the list of definite do's and don'ts. Let's start with the do's. What are the things that we definitely need to do if we're going to declare bankruptcy?
Well, you need to gather up things like all your mortgage documents if you're an individual. You need you don't need to put together an Excel spreadsheet or a list of all your payments, but have a copy of your bills handy, because that'll contain things like addresses for sending notice to your creditors. It'll contain things like account numbers, payoff amounts, because those are the foundations of in your bankruptcy schedules of assets and liabilities. And it helps out your bankruptcy attorney tremendously to be able to process that information quickly so that he or she can get you the relief you need under the bankruptcy code.
Okay.
The next thing would be any correspondence from creditors. So if you've got a creditor that's harassing you because you're late on some bills, or if you've got a third-party debt collector, gather up any of those correspondence or emails, print those out, put those in a safe spot. The next thing would be to file your tax returns timely. I know that Congress extended certain deadlines for individuals and companies to file their tax returns, but it's always important to get your taxes filed on time as quickly as possible, so that if you are owed a refund, whether you're a business or an individual, that refund can be used to pay off your creditors and ease your debt burdens. So those are just a few of the things that individuals and businesses need to start thinking about. If you're a business, get your books and records in order. I know with small businesses, sometimes that can be difficult because the identity between the owner and the company sometimes gets blurred. But if you've got good income statements, balance sheets, and cash flow statements, it makes your transition into Chapter 12 that much easier.
All right, let's flip this coin now to the other side. Someone decides, I need to declare bankruptcy. What are some of the definite things we do not want to do?
Well, you never want to lie. That's the first and foremost thing, because when you sign your bankruptcy petition and your schedules and statement of financial affairs, as a debtor, you're doing that under penalty of perjury. And there are severe fines and penalties for lying on your bankruptcy schedules. The bankruptcy code was designed for the unfortunate but honest debtor, somebody that just is down on their luck and can't make the payments to the mortgage company or their trade vendors if they're a business. So if you're honest and upfront and disclose the information to the best of your information and knowledge and belief, you're going to be fine. It's the debtors that try to game the system that are the ones that get in trouble. So you never, ever, ever, ever want to lie on your schedules. Be honest. The system works for you if you're the unfortunate debtor, as long as you're honest with the system.
The old saying is, two people you never lied to, your doctor and your lawyer. One will keep you alive, the other will keep you out of jail. True?
Exactly. There's only so much we could do as bankruptcy practitioners if we don't have a complete picture of your financial situation. So honesty and open communication is number one and first and foremost always.
For us lay people, Ryan, how do chapters 7 and 13 differ, and what determines which is best for us?
Well, that's a great question, Clarence. Chapter 7, just to give you a general overview, is the liquidation chapter.
Okay.
And the idea behind Chapter 7 is that you hand over to an independent trustee, and we have 3 fantastic trustees here in Baton Rouge. You hand over your non-exempt property to a Chapter 7 trustee, and he or she will then liquidate that property into cash to pay your creditors. And that's basically it. Other than a few issues like student loan dischargeability, which unfortunately it's never dischargeable, so you can't get away from your student loans. The Chapter 7 is very quick and easy for most individuals. You hand over your property, the the trustee liquidates it into cash, and you're done. You get your discharge, and all your pre-bankruptcy debts, with few exceptions like student loans, go away.
Right.
Now, Chapter 13, on the other hand, it's a chapter. It's very similar to the reorganization chapter for businesses, which is Chapter 11. But Chapter 13 is designed for individuals with regular income. So if you have a good job, let's just say, working at one of the plants on the river, but for whatever reason you've got some medical debts or gotten an accident, you're just behind on some of your mortgage payments or credit card payments, Chapter 13 might be a good idea for you if you want to save your house. Because in Chapter 13, the idea is you pay your projected disposable income over the life of a plan, which is usually 3 to 5 years.
Okay.
And at the end of that plan, all pre-bankruptcy debts are discharged. They go away. And so the idea is if you can pay more, you should pay more, but you also get a broader discharge of your debts. And so the difference between a Chapter 7 and a 13, one is liquidation versus regular payments and projected disposable income. But Chapter 13 is a great vehicle for individuals that have regular income, but they also want to protect their house. The house is usually the most important asset for individuals and consumers. So Chapter 13 can be a great vehicle for protecting your most important asset, which is usually your home.
Someone watching right now, Ryan, may say to themselves, well, I just heard this guy that specializes in bankruptcy say Chapter 7 is quick and easy. I can probably bang this thing out myself. What do you say to that person, Ryan?
Well, unfortunately, the worst client you can have is yourself. You never, ever want to try and do this alone. There are certain provisions for pro se debtors, and the bankruptcy court will try to work with individuals that try to do this alone. But honestly, Clarence, you really need to hire an experienced bankruptcy attorney because it makes the process so much easier. I mean, I've been doing this for almost 15 years.
Right.
And so I know all the ins and outs of the process. But if you're coming into this cold, you may not know how to file your schedules and your statement of financial affairs and a timeline for doing so. And while uscourts.gov publishes some great materials on the basics of bankruptcy in the various chapters, unfortunately, as a pro se debtor representing yourself, it can be very difficult, very tricky, because you might not know, hey, I've got a certain time period in which I have to file post-bankruptcy credit counseling certificates, or that, hey, the deadline to file a reaffirmation agreement is X based upon my meeting of creditors. And so it can be a wild universe to navigate. So you really need an experienced bankruptcy attorney to help you navigate the landscape.
If someone finally, Ryan, would like to talk with you and find out more, how can they go about reaching you?
Well, they can go to my firm's website. I'm a partner at Sternberg, Knackery, and White LLC, and they can go to our website. It's www.snw.law, so snw.law. Or they can email me at ryan@snw.law.
Fantastic. Thank you so much for the time, Attorney Ryan Richmond. And the next time I talk to Franz Borchardt, I'll be sure to tell him that you did yourself proud, my friend.
I appreciate it. Thank you very much for having me, Clarence, and hope you and your viewing audience are doing well, and everyone continues to do well.
Stay safe, my friend. Thanks again.
Thank you. You too.
It's something that, unfortunately, a lot of folks are going to have to entertain. It is just a reality of the new reality that so many of us find ourselves in as a result of this COVID-19 pandemic. First break of hour number 2. We get her done, and we'll talk more next, right here on The Pelican. Stay close.
Sometimes life is wonderful, and sometimes it's not. Cherish the good, but always be prepared for life's challenges. At Private Healthcare, we provide the peace of mind you deserve. With Private Healthcare, you'll get the coverage you want and healthcare you need. If your employer doesn't supply healthcare coverage and you don't qualify for Medicare or Medicaid, you need to give us a call right now. Private health care is private health insurance for ages 65 and under with medical, dental, vision, and even prescription coverage. When life comes at you unexpectedly, you need to be ready, and health insurance is your financial safety net. Health insurance has never been so easy and affordable. If you're looking for health coverage at the best price and your annual household income is $35,000 or more, call the number on the screen now and speak with a live healthcare consultant. Don't wait. Get the coverage you need now.
I'll leave for a little while. And all you other letters think you can take over my town. Look at you. None of you's even a vowel. If the people want the money they deserve for their accident,
The E-guarantee.
and as for you other letters, it's time you were erased.
That's right, the Clarence Bug Show is back, along with the Exiles, Bill Profita and Kevin Gallagher. We've put the band back together, South Louisiana's talk team, and it's only on the Pelican. 10 a.m. till 12 noon, right here on the Pelican.
From appetizers, pasta dishes, and entrees, La Contea takes pride in preparing all the Italian cuisine we know you love. Enjoy live music every Thursday through Saturday from 6 to 9, happy hour weekdays from 3 to 6, and brunch on Sundays from 11 to 2, as well as dinner portion-sized lunch specials for under $10. Visit our website to view our menu and book a party or meeting in our large banquet room. Once you try La Contea, your Italian dining will change forever.
Welcome back to our segment two of today's edition of the Clarence Bug Show. You know, with all that's taken place over the past 7-8 weeks or so with the advent of the coronavirus pandemic, the stay-home orders, the whole nine, things in many instances have ground to a halt. Not necessarily true for everything. For example, many folks, organizations, individuals, entities, what have you, have been about the business of supporting service organizations that are so desperately needed right now. For example, the Greater Baton Rouge Food Bank. And one of the groups of folks that you may have thought had fallen off the radar are in the process of conducting a big food drive to help out the Greater Baton Rouge Food Bank. Talking about the organization for the proposed city of St. George. And the spokesperson, Attorney Drew Murrell, joins us to talk about that effort. How are you today, Drew?
I'm doing great, Clarence. Thanks for having me.
You're quite welcome. So May 16th and 17th, where can we drop off our non-perishable food items?
Well, look, you don't have to wait till then. You can always drop off non-perishable food items, donations of any kind, whether it be cash, check, or food. You can drop those off at any of the St. George Fire Department locations. They've got barrels set up now.
Awesome.
What we're doing this weekend for the 16th and 17th is St. George, City of St. George has partnered with the St. George Fire Department and the Greater Baton Rouge Food Bank to benefit the 11 parishes that they serve with the food bank.
Uh-huh.
And we're going to be driving through neighborhoods. If you've been in part of St. George Christmas parade before where the fire truck and Santa Claus roll through
Right.
and they collect food donations then, it's the same exact thing minus Santa Claus happening this weekend. So starting at 10 a.m. on Saturday and noon on Sunday, we'll be driving through the neighborhood, following the fire truck, picking up food donations. We want to be as safe as possible since we have the pandemic. So you just place your non-perishable food items at the end of your driveway, and our volunteers will pick them up for you. You can also leave your donations, checks at that point, and we'll get those as well.
So let me be sure I understand this correct now. If you're doing this, and in the fashion that you're doing it, I guess this shows that you guys do view yourselves as a part of this community.
Well, that's right. St. George is a community, and we've done this every Christmas with the St. George Fire Department. I think that the press release says it all. City of St. George partners with the St. George Fire Department and the Greater Baton Rouge Food Bank. And that's the idea. Our volunteers are following those fire trucks. We're picking up donations. And as we've always said, our goal was not just to make a great city of St. George. Our goal was to make a better East Baton Rouge parish.
Right.
These donations aren't just going to St. George citizens. They're going to benefit the 11 parish areas served by the Greater Baton Rouge Food Bank.
What about those monetary donations? Who do we need to make these checks out to, Drew?
Well, you can get all this information. It's always available at stgeorgelouisiana.com. You can make it out to the food bank. That's probably the best idea. Or you can go online right now to the St. George webpage or Facebook page and make a secure donation that goes straight to the food bank. There's a link up that you can get that, stgeorgelouisiana.com, or online at our Facebook page. And again, it's safe, secure, and it's online. That way you're not worried about writing checks and who you gave it to. You're not worried about handing cash to somebody you don't know.
Right.
And you know it goes right to the source.
Fantastic. So how has the COVID-19 pandemic affected, if at all, the incorporation efforts for the city of St. George?
Really, it hasn't. I mean, it's going to slow down the court system because the court system is running a little slower and it's backlogged.
Right.
But as far as where we are in litigation, we really were kind of past that first step anyway. Right now, our writ has been filed with the First Circuit Court of Appeal. We're waiting for the response from the opposition, and it's moving forward just like it normally would. Then you're going to see the discovery phase move on, and it's a long-term litigation. This is not something that's wrapped up in a month. So really for us in the long term, this has almost no effect on litigation.
With tax revenue from businesses dropping way off, is that going to affect the efforts to form the new city any?
No, it doesn't. I mean, by the time we get to the point where the city is underway, unless something miraculous happens in the interim, those revenues will have bounced back by then. What I think you'll see with the city of St. George, much like the city of Central, is when you're running a budget surplus every year and you're able to put money aside, like Central currently has $40 million in unassigned reserves that they can use to go through crisis, disasters, pandemic, whatever comes up. They have the ability to weather the storm, so to speak.
Right.
That's what good government does. So St. George would be somewhere along that same model. If we're running a budget surplus every year, when something like this comes along, we're better equipped to respond faster to the needs of our citizens than a city that's, say, running at a balanced budget or has a deficit or it's not paying their unfunded retirement liability.
When you look at the impact of COVID-19 and how it has literally grabbed everybody's attention from whatever it was on before and shifted it to something completely different, how has that affected the morale, for lack of a better word, of the organizers of this proposed city, or has it made them more determined than ever?
I think a little bit of both. I mean, a lot of our volunteers and organizers have been around for a decade in this effort.
Right.
So there's nothing at this point that's going to make them waver or diminish their support. For the rest of us, you know, it's first and foremost worrying about your own personal health and your family's health. And then, you know, our group, they have jobs, they have businesses they have to maintain and run. That is the sole focus right now.
Right.
St. George is going to be a part of that process in the future. So we're still moving forward with St. George. Our volunteers and organizers are still involved. Corona's just top of the news cycle right now. It's the biggest thing going on, and it affects every single person in the area.
I will be the first to tell you, Drew, that from a layperson's point of view, I was under the impression or mistakenly thinking that this would have been a done deal by now. We would no longer be having this conversation. What does your gut tell you? How long before all of this will come to fruition?
Well, first I'll say, you know, unfortunately, Clarence, you were wrong, and you shouldn't have been. When you have an election and the people vote in that election, those results are supposed to be the law of the land. That is supposed to determine the outcome, not litigation in courtrooms, but the vote and will of the people. So it's really sad that someone who claims to be a representative of the people decided that that's the method, that's the course they should take. Instead of working together, they're still working to divide. So to get to the litigation question, I would assume 2 years is a good benchmark from the beginning of litigation to the reality of St. George. I'm hoping by 2021 or even early 2022 at the latest that you can see the reality. Litigation's complete and the city's underway.
How disheartening has that whole journey been? Again, thinking, okay, at this point, all the dust would have settled and we would have been moving on past this.
I'm not going to say disheartening, because anything worth having is worth fighting for.
Amen.
And we're willing to continue that fight as far and as long as we have to. I'll say it's disappointing because, again, people who claim to represent the interest of us as members of this parish have chosen to litigate instead of work together. And that's the disappointing part. It just shows, it proves and shows all along we've always said that we're off on an island on our own, and the parish does not care about us. They only care about our revenue and our money.
Once again, if you would give us that website for folks that want to find out how they can donate to the Greater Baton Rouge Food Bank and help this 11 parish area, Drew.
Yeah, you can always find us at the St. George Facebook page, but you can go to stgeorgefire.com. They've got a list of the routes for this weekend. If you're southwest of Airline Highway, we're hitting you all weekend. So you can always make your donations through the links you find there. You can also get the schedule and the route for the weekend as well.
And if memory serves correct, you did say if you can't make it on the 16th or the 17th, you can just simply drop those goods off at any St. George Fire Department, fire station?
That's right. The barrels are out and they're taking donations. You can do it anytime you want to. If you email us to stgeorgelouisiana.com, we'll send a volunteer to your driveway to pick it up from you anytime you want to make that donation.
Well, if that's any indication of what the city of St. George will, the kind of service you're going to offer, we're in good hands, my friend.
I hope so. Looking forward to a bright future.
Attorney Drew Murrell, thank you so much for the time. More important, thanks for the efforts on behalf of the 11 parish community and the Greater Baton Rouge Food Bank. It was appreciated sincerely, Drew.
And it's Clarence. Thanks for having me. Great to hear you.
Thank you, my friend. Take care of yourself. It's an 11 parish area that definitely needs some help. And the good folks over at the Greater Baton Rouge Food Bank could certainly use those monetary donations. Something many of us don't ever take the time to think about. An organization like the Food Bank, you take $5, go to your local grocery store, buy $5 worth of food, you're going to get what you get. The Greater Baton Rouge Food Bank, because they deal with wholesalers, because they buy in bulk, they're able to take that same $5 and compared to what you and I would get, could probably get $25, $30 worth of food. And in times like these, stretching those dollars to help our fellow Louisianians can mean the world to some folks as far as whether they're hungry or not. Just saying. More and more steps, baby steps as they may be, are starting to materialize as America gets closer to reopening. Sports, oh God, do we miss it? Well, the NBA and Major League Baseball both announcing this week they're ready to start taking those steps. We'll spend some time with one of my favorite people, Roger Cador, talking about what that could all look like and what the impact could be, particularly for our smaller schools if they aren't able to play some football this fall. That and more still to come on Hour 2 of the Clarence Bugg Show, right where you've got it, here on the Pelican.
For Total Home Pest Control, who are you going to call?
Call the Bug Man, 923-BUGS.
For total pest control for your home or business, call the original Salvat.
Call the Bug Man today, 923-BUGS.
No one can stop me when I taste the feeling. Nothing could ever bring me down. Nothing could ever bring me down. Taste the feeling.
Live and play on the fairway at Greystone Golf and Country Club, a serene, challenging golf destination located in Denham Springs. For tee times and membership opportunities, go to GreystoneCountryClub.com.
Bolello's Furniture and Appliances, your dependable independent. Depend on us for service, for selection, for price. Get huge Whirlpool savings. Shop now and save on Whirlpool appliances throughout the store. Plus, experience our price match guarantee and ask about special financing. You can depend on the know-how of people who live appliances every day. Bolello's Furniture and Appliances, your dependable independent with nationwide buying power.
Exiles from what you ask? Exiled from the radio. But now we're on your television.
I'm Bill Profita. He's Kevin Gallagher, and they kicked us to the curb.
But we're back.
We are back with Exiles Television on the Pelican Broadcasting Network. We're going to bring you the newsmakers. We're also going to take your calls and give you great information. It's going to be the best damn radio show on television.
Look for it on your cable system or download the app, PelicanSportsTV.com.
They said I could find you here. Why are you fishing? Our company's got to ship out 2 full color brochures and 20 color copies. You're killing me.
It's done. Designed, printed, packaged, and shipped.
How?
You just got to know the right people. Baker Printing, the printing people.
How come you get to fish in this private lake?
Like I said, you just got to know the right people. You can know the right people too.
Welcome back to hour 2 of today's edition of the Clarence Bug Show. The NBA, National Basketball Association, took some tiny steps toward normalcy last week. A small number of practice facilities reopening for workouts, and at least one team received permission from the league to test players and staff for the coronavirus. In addition to that, the NFL, as I'm sure you are well aware, announcing that they plan, if all continues as is, to hold the 2020 season in its entirety. Joining us to talk a little bit of sports and the coronavirus pandemic is a guy that is no stranger to any Louisianian, probably for that matter, anybody that's ever been in the SWAC or Texas or just all over the place. Talking about our friend Roger Cador. Coach, good morning, and how are you today, sir?
Clarence, I'm doing well. How are you?
I am well, Coach. Thank you for asking. When I saw the NBA and the NFL starting to take these steps, the first question that came to mind is, as someone who played at the next level, what would the response have been? Do you think any different? Because obviously when you played, the NFL and the MLB Players Associations did not have the same amount of sway that they have these days. Would we be playing? Would they have ever canceled the season in your day?
No, because we had no kind of, we didn't have the say-so or the organization to back us on this.
Mm-hmm.
Plus, we were not as informed as a nation and as a people back then in the 70s.
Right.
You know, things could have gone above us through the system and we wouldn't have known.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? But
right.
because of this virus affected the whole world.
Mm-hmm.
That's the difference. It's a once in 100-year type of situation.
Mm-hmm. What does it say to you that sports is something that was one of the first things to go by the wayside, but at the same time, it's one of those things that a huge portion of the country needs more than anything right now to deal with this coronavirus? What is this supposed to say to us about sports and America?
Well, you know, during wartime, sports was the one thing that kept America going.
Mm-hmm.
When our boys and men were overseas fighting wars, sport kept the people at home, gave them something to do and something to cheer about.
Mm-hmm.
So sports is an integral part of our culture, as we all know. and we don't want to lose it. But at the same time, we need to listen to the experts, follow the data, look at it, and see what it says. Because we need to know what's happening, man. Listen, 82,000 people or more have lost their life, according to that, and I really think it's more, because there are people dying who never made it to the hospital that could be checked out for coronavirus. You got me?
Right.
Because, I'm from Murrell. Right now, I talk to my family. There is no checking over there. I see where they're about to do some testing now, but there's no testing taking place there. And people are dying, so they don't know what they're dying from. You got me?
Right.
So there, as the governor so put it, about 3 weeks ago, he said, we have this virus in more places than we think. We're just not equipped to check all of the parishes to see what's going on there. So we know it's there. We just don't have anywhere to do it right now.
Unfortunately, there is the possibility that this pandemic is going to severely impact colleges and universities at the worst time of the year. The fall is the time that many colleges and universities make the lion's share of their extracurricular money around athletics, namely particularly football. If this inhibits or prohibits colleges and universities from having football full-blown this fall, what is that going to mean to colleges and universities, and particularly to the HBCUs that are struggling to begin with, Coach?
I just think some of the other sports may go by the wayside. I mean, it's a possibility. I mean, it's really something they really have to strongly look at, because obviously. Now, I spoke with someone who is very well in the know as it relates to swag football.
Right.
And he told me, and he's very well connected. He said, I asked him about that. I said, man, if we don't have football, how are we going to survive? He laughed, and he said, if you take away Southern and Jackson, maybe Grambling, but he said you can't even consider Grambling. Southern and Jackson and Alcorn, those are the only three schools he feels will be impacted severely by this virus if they don't play football. He said the lion's share of the money, historical black schools and the smart kids, come from football, basketball. And I said, really? He said, let's look at it. Most of the schools play for guarantees, big guarantees, and then if they win, they get a share of the money when they go to the region or NCAA tournament. So he said basketball would do quite well, but football wouldn't hurt that much with a lot of schools. So they're losing money. So you're getting 2,000 and 3,000 people at a football game, and when you start looking at your expenses, it doesn't add up. You got me?
Right. Interesting.
So he said 3 schools probably will impact it. All the rest will benefit from not playing football.
Wow.
So that says a lot. So that means 7 schools benefit from not playing football. It's their money.
Now, obviously, it's a little different scenario when you're talking major colleges because there's TV revenue involved, right?
Right, exactly. TV guarantees a lot is on the line with them. And then ticket sales. They got ticket sales.
Right.
They got major sponsorship, huge sponsorships. And so it's a big difference at that level where, your swag schools, maybe very few schools have sponsorship. But yeah, the major schools would be impacted the most. It would do a lot of damage to them.
How hopeful are
What
you?
they're going to do, what the major schools will do, they're going to push that season back as far as they can
Right.
to try and play something.
Yeah.
The key is, what does the virus do? It's not like this is we trying to make a decision based upon some man that's doing something.
Right.
This virus has no way of communicating other than to destroy. You got me? It's all depends what this virus does. If that baby comes back, there ain't going to be no smokes.
One of the things that this virus has pointed out, particularly poignantly, without any hesitation or reservation, is the poor state of health in many African American communities. How hopeful are you that the HBCUs will use this, not really a revelation, but will use this information and develop programs to where people of color now can take more concrete steps to improve their health? Do we have an obligation for HBCUs to do that now?
Well, I think it needs to happen at the healthcare area because let's say a lot of people ain't going to have access to HBCUs.
Right.
But the healthcare system is the one, if they could do it. Obviously, when we get students there, we could do something.
Right.
You see what I'm saying? But to do what you're talking about, you're going to need funding. You're going to need some kind of funding to make this happen. And it's probably going to be easier to get into our healthcare system where we can make it, start with kids in the primary school or at birth, really.
Right.
That's where it really starts. When we start there and we teach parents the value of eating well. Listen, since I've been home, I've eaten better, well, more conscious than I've ever done before because it's important.
Yeah.
If you want to be around and have a healthy system so it can help fight off this, the things that come in at your immune system.
Matt, what would you like to say to the viewers that, for whatever reason, 2016 flood, lack of interest, other ways to spend their disposable income, what would you like to say to those folks that in years past had been supporters of HBCUs, particularly in football, but they've kind of fallen by the wayside in recent years as far as how important it is whenever we resume sports, it's imperative that people of color particularly get back to supporting HBCUs?
Well, I think if they financially can, Clarence, I'm looking at this thing, this is going to impact more people than 2016.
Oh, yeah. Easily.
And I'm not in the position, unfortunate, to tell people about coming back and supporting HBCUs. They got their families to think about right now. And I mean, and I love HBCUs. I'm where I am today because of it.
Right.
But, if I had to put everything in perspective, we've got to make sure we can take care of our family because that's the one thing that's been torn apart by this virus.
Right.
I mean, people have lost their jobs. They could lose their home, even though people lost their home when the flood came, but they kept their jobs. You got me?
Right, right.
Now you don't have the money coming in. It's just so bad. It's a terrible thing. And so my thing is, to be honest with you, I'm not thinking about sports right now because you can't really think about it because you got something way more important than that, people's livelihood.
Finally, Coach, what are you hoping we all learn from this episode, Coach?
That anything can happen and that unlike people haven't been discriminate, this thing doesn't. It just come and get everybody. So it's an eye-opener to let you know, man, it can come after everybody,
Well,
so let's learn that we all got to depend on each other to get through this stuff.
Well, I am looking so very forward to normalcy starting to return. And if you happen to bump into Mr. Normalcy at the grocery store, tell him to hurry up because we got to have the Roger Cador show this fall.
I want normalcy so bad. I want it so bad. And I think the last time you and I talked, I said, I want to live forever.
Right.
Well, having fun. And I'm not going to go away from it. But, boy, I tell you, we want normalcy in the worst ways because me being stuck in this house is not what I want to be like. Okay?
No.
I want to be out there meeting all these beautiful people.
Yeah, and giving all these beautiful people the opportunity to meet you. Coach, do me a huge favor. Take care of yourself and be safe, and we'll talk with you again real soon, my friend.
Tell everybody at the Pelican I said hello.
You got it. Consider it done. Roger Cador, institution in and of himself. Final break of today's show. We get her done. We'll come back, put a big old bow, and wrap up the midweek edition of the Clarence Bugg Show right here on the Pelican. Stay close.
From appetizers, pasta dishes, and entrees, La Cantea takes pride in preparing all the Italian cuisine we know you love. Enjoy live music every Thursday through Saturday from 6 to 9, happy hour weekdays from 3 to 6, and brunch on Sundays from 11 to 2, as well as dinner portion-sized lunch specials for under $10. Visit our website to view our menu and book a party or meeting in our large banquet room. Once you try La Cantea, your Italian dining will change forever.
Live and play on the fairway at Greystone Golf and Country Club, a serene, challenging golf destination located in Denham Springs. For tee times and membership opportunities, go to greystonecountryclub.com.
Hello guys, it's Debbie. It's time. I've got a brand new location. 10510 Airline Highway, Baton Rouge, next to After 5 Tuxedos. We have the perfect spot to get all your wedding and formal wear needs. Come see our one-of-a-kind name brand and get great prices. With 30 years experience, the best customer service anywhere. It's Debbie's Bridal, Airline Highway, Baton Rouge. See you soon.
That's right, the Clarence Bugg Show is back, along with the Exiles, Bill Profita and Kevin Gallagher. We've put the band back together, South Louisiana's talk team, and it's only on the Pelican. 10 a.m. till 12 noon, right here on the Pelican.
Hello. Hola. 你好.
Experience what the Baton Rouge International School can offer your children. Now welcoming displaced students for short and long-term stability.
Hi, I'm Bobby Yarborough with Manda Fine Meats. Here at Manda, we know what the folks of South Louisiana love. They love great flavored smoked sausage, delicious deli meats, and specialty items like boudin and andouille sausage. Manda Fine Meats has been providing these products since 1947. We produce them right here in Baton Rouge, so you know you're always getting the freshest product at your local grocery store. Manda Fine Meats. Taste the fresh local flavor in everything we make. Make it Manda every time.
Boy, right at 12 o'clock, if you are a real, notice I said real, bona fide Louisianian, and you've not had lunch, and you saw that Manda's commercial just now, if your stomach didn't just tighten up on you, go back and check your birth certificate, because you ain't from here. Oh, that spot hit like a ton of bricks just now. Unfortunately, got some Mandas at home. Can't wait to get to it in about 12 minutes or so. Listen, on a serious note, the governor wants you to know that the state is looking for individuals that are interested in becoming contact tracers. Remember, we told you this is another of those phrases that they're probably going to, before long, they're going to be called CTs, as we probably adapt an acronym for everything. Contact tracers are the folks that will identify infected individuals based on results from tests obtained by city and state health departments. When we find out from the city and state health departments who the individuals are that have contracted COVID-19, you will then contact them by phone initially, in most cases, and you will then ask them to recall the names of everyone that they've come in contact with recently. Upon getting that information, the contact tracers will then warn those who have come in contact with these individuals of their potential exposure, advise them to self-quarantine, and provide them with access to resources that they might need in order to follow set protocols. It's a necessary part of the equation for us to defeat this insidious virus. Contact tracing is something that is going to become a part of the American lexicon. It just is. If you are interested in becoming a COVID-19 contact tracer, you are advised to send an email to contacttracing@la.gov. Contact tracing, TRACING, @la.gov. Now, in order to apply, you have to have 1, a high school diploma, 2, you have to be good with phone calls and entering data, and 3, you will be required to take a detailed training course. So keep all that in mind as you weigh whether or not you are cut out to be a contact tracer here in Louisiana. Again, contact tracing @la.gov is where to send that email if you are interested in employment in that regard. Also, here in the capital city, more good news, particularly surrounding Phase 1 reopening. BREC, our nationally accredited and acclaimed Recreation and Parks Service, announcing recently their plans for Phase 1 reopening. BREC officials say they've got a plan with 3 phases of reopening that was created after consulting with national, state, and local recreation, health, and tourism experts. Baton Rouge Zoo members, friends of the zoo, you'll be treated to a special reopening of the zoo May 18th through the 20th. The public opening is set for May 21st. Bluebonnet Swamp Nature Trails, May 18th, reopens. All dog parks, May 18th, reopening, as is Magnolia Mounds grounds, public restrooms in community parks, recreation centers in community parks, tennis centers, neighborhood practice fields for individual or same household activities with groups of under 10 people, social distancing numbers, and trails and green spaces will remain open as they have throughout the pandemic. Golf courses will also remain open continuously. If you need additional information, just simply go to brec.org, and I am certain that they will have all of that information listed there. It is part of what we have become as Americans. We, sadly, despite the intentions of the founding fathers and what our life lessons have taught us in our time in this country, we have gravitated away from personal responsibility. It is a sad commentary for many of us that understood what this country was founded on, why this country was founded, and what the basic tenets are of the society in which we live. It is disturbing for many of us that we have gravitated toward others taking care of us instead of us taking care of ourselves. Because the fact of the matter is, there is no such thing as a free lunch. And anyone, anywhere on this planet that decides, hey, let me take care of you, they're going to want something in return. And most times what they want is a whole lot greater than what you gave up. Hopefully, possibly, considerably, the silver lining out of all of this may well be that we start ever so slowly nudging back toward the center. Because when all is said and done, nobody can and nobody should take care of you the way you take care of you. We, for whatever reason, a myriad of reasons why. Well, Clarence, you got to understand, I pay so much in taxes and they work me so much that there's some things I have to have other people to do. Well, maybe this is a very rude and abrupt wake-up call for us. Maybe this is telling us in no uncertain terms, it is time for Americans to once again grab the bull of taking care of self by the horns and make sure that we never have to lean on anyone else again. Now, I understand, for the record, I'm a man of faith. Nothing I love more than my country except for my God. And his word says the poor will always be among us. That's inescapable. If God said it, that settles it, whether you believe it or not. The poor will always be among us. But you don't have to resign yourself to being one of them. Here in the state of Louisiana, education is something we have struggled with for far too long. And it is something that has held us back from being the great state that we have the potential to be. Now that so very many of us have had to, we've been forced to get involved in education, particularly as it pertains to our kids. Hopefully now, all of this is going to spark a renewed interest in education, in taking care of ourselves, and being the great state that we have the potential to be. Like anything else of substance, it's not going to happen quickly. Like anything else of substance, it probably won't be easy. But at the end of the day, doggone it, we're Louisianians and we're Americans, and we do our best work when our backs are against the wall. So, if I could borrow just a little more scripture, let not your hearts be troubled. If you believe in him, and you know the rest, he has not taken us this far to leave us now. But at some point, you have to take care of self. God has given us all free will. It's just a matter of, are we going to decide that we want the best for us, and we collectively are willing to make the sacrifice to make it happen. Personally, all the folks I know feel that way. The only question is, are you going to join the rest of them? Phase 1 will be here before you know it. God willing, we will conduct ourselves accordingly, and then we're on to phase 2. And that will go swimmingly, and then we'll head right on down the road. The only thing that will stop that from happening is us. Some of y'all not going to get that till later in the day, but that's okay, as long as you get it. Don't forget, tomorrow, same time, same spot. The Exiles, Bill Profita, Kevin Gallagher will be here to bring you the latest as we get even closer to Friday and phase 1. Still got enough time before I wrap all of this up to let you know. Once again, I give it to you. You're right. America, we are not perfect. Oh, but doggone it, for my money, it's the best there is. And God knows there's no place else on his green earth that I'd rather be. Speaking of the good Lord, you got the email, you got the memo, you realize that he loves you, right? And I hope you know that I do too. Either way, there ain't a doggone thing you can do about either one. Take care of yourselves, let's take care of each other, and we'll see you soon. God bless.